internet of value at Ripple, we're thinking much bigger than just cross-border payments. It's kind of like Amazon with rare books in the early days, just this market happens to be a $10 trillion market.
We are at a historic turning point.
Said in the past that you are doing for money what email did for communication.
Moving the whole revolution forward.
Take on it.
There's trillions of dollars parked around the world. XRP.
Is there a possibility that Ripple could take over Swift one day?
Well,
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of 24 Hours of Crypto. Let's get right into today's video. Wow, it just keeps getting better and better and better for the individuals that educated themselves in holding XRP. Wow. And I'm doubling down on my $100 XRP by 2030 because what Brad Garlinghouse just said in this 1-minute clip that I'm going to play in a moment is going to have you just maybe panicking, maybe a seizure. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what happens. But the fact that he's even wanting to do this episode, okay, they weren't like, hey, Brad, you want to come do this? He's like, sure, no. Listen to what was said here because he talks about Prime Broker and he talks about how much transactions they do. And they are getting ready, like we said, to handle billions and trillions of dollars through the XRP ledger.
Prime Broker is really a one-stop shop that allows all kinds of different asset managers, whether these are well-known hedge funds, trading desks, market makers. It gives them a one-stop shop venue to trade and clear everything from digital assets, derivatives, swaps, all kinds of different assets. And these guys are doing trillions of dollars of trades. Historically, those have been really owned by the traditional commercial banks, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs. Banks now don't do, well, new players like Hidden Road, a company Ripple bought recently, is new to this space and they're growing very quickly by serving that same market, but also including digital assets as part of the mix. Having a well-capitalized, a super strong balance sheet player like Hidden Road is allowing more institutions to come into these asset classes against a well-capitalized counterparty, and that is Prime Brokers bringing people into crypto in 1 minute.
Wow. And in a moment, I'm going to play the clips by the Hidden Road CEO, Mr. Higgins himself. Listen to what he said, because this is going to complement very well to what Brad Garlinghouse just said in terms of trillions, and they know what's coming. They know liquidity is going to be a problem, and that is why this was one of the biggest transactions in crypto history when Ripple acquired Prime Broker Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. But before I play and go further into this episode, I want to kind of give you guys a perspective of things. Some of you guys may think that, wow, I can't believe I'm going to, achieve some of the wealth that I've never even imagined of, or I can't believe this is going to happen. I want to tell you guys how this is reality, okay? And remember, stop overthinking things. I want to give you a couple screenshots of when I was buying Bitcoin back in 2018, okay? And I was paying, if you take a look on the screen, I'll give you some of the screenshots, $500 Canadian for 0.1 Bitcoin. And now that's worth about just over $10,000 American. Okay, so my $300, every $300 was 10,000. And even if you look at another transaction, a 0.2, I bought 0.2 Bitcoin for $1,000. Okay, and that's just over $12,000 right now. And then there's another purchase. Like, these are all 0.1 purchases, right? But I knew Bitcoin was going to reach and go over 100,000. I know Bitcoin is going to go over 200, 300. I'm bullish Bitcoin, but it makes absolutely no sense. And that is why I am not an XRP maxi. I'm an XRP contributor and a researcher that understands that the value of XRP is going to go to $100 and beyond because it is a math-based currency. And we have done our due diligence from every single perspective, the IMF, the World Bank, the Group of 30, some organizations that your average person, you and I already know that, your average person has no idea of some of the organizations that we even go over, right? But yeah, just to give you guys a little bit of a insight in just terms of holding tight and just just letting it ride. We are so early into this generation of crypto, and a lot of people are going to miss out on some real good wealth because they're going to sell early. Okay, just hold tight, folks. Hold tight. But let's go ahead and now break down exactly what Hidden Road CEO Mr. Michael Higgins said 2 months ago, and look at what is being played out. And my goodness, they're speaking our language. The numbers we go over, the projections they have, the visions they have, is exactly the way we portray XRP and Ripple and this next evolution that is happening right now.
Investors, retail and institutional, all have their money invested in 6 asset classes: equities, credit, rates, commodities, real estate, and cash. And crypto is definitely the 7th.
And before I play the next video and really set the tone here, this took place 2 days ago. Hidden Road has 20 times more balance sheet demand than supply. The Ripple deal solves this. Again, we're going to make an episode number 2 for this because he also talked about liquidity. I'm not going to, make this very, very long, but we're going to cover some monumental talking points that is going to just have you going crazy. This part right here, listen to it and you're going to say, oh my God, I love you. Just because listen, and this is what they're doing behind the scenes. We could do our best to kind of see it, but listen to this.
As the market becomes more mainstream, that's very unlikely to continue to be the case. And so this is an area where I certainly see M&A activity from the digital space moving into the TradFi market. And last point, repeal of SAB 121 in the US, specifically for BONI, is a huge thing to watch out for.
I mean, so within the past week, a couple weeks, so SAB 121.
Point, repeal of SAB 121 in the US.
Being called back or rolled back. And I mean, within, it felt like minutes, you hear from CEOs like Bank of America saying, we're all in, we're all in.
Bank of New York custodies $50 trillion of assets. It's 50 trillion, and they haven't even started in the crypto side. It's 50 trillion, and they haven't even started in the crypto side. It's 50 trillion, and they haven't even started in the crypto side.
$50 trillion. And we haven't even addressed that market on this channel. Think about that for a moment. That's a mic drop moment, right? So we are the early visionaries. We are the pioneers. And listen to what Michael Higgins has to say about this.
Everett Rogers, in his book, Diffusions of Innovations, it's the foundational building block of how early and mid-stage investors literally think about the universe, right? It illustrates how different segments of the population adopt technology at different times. It's the core empirical principle used on how technology is adopted. It's VC investing 101. Quickly run through it. According to the principle, there's 5 categories: innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Innovators and early adopters are the first to adopt technology, usually due to curiosity and risk tolerance, probably a lot of folks in the room and at this conference. Early and late majority represent the larger audience that wait until the technology is proven and more mature. And laggards are the last to adopt, usually resistant to change. Relevant here, maybe that's the governments, regulators, and perhaps the banks. And so I thought it was helpful to help contextualize where we are. And so the question is, where are we on this? We're in the green area. And so clearly we have a long way to go before there's full adoption.
And at the end of the day, all the hopium that we have been, releasing into the universe on this channel, all the BS, all the non-factual information, all are coming out to be true, right? The metrics we cover about the FX market, just RWA, how big those markets are, they're looking at it from the same way. And look at the way Michael Higgins portrays this one. He talks about early FX turnover rates. The first part kind of cut out, but the number where he says 1.6 trillion, he's referring to 1999, and then he goes to 2019. But just take a listen to what he says in regards to the FX turnover rate.
That showed that foreign exchange turnover was $1.2 trillion a day. 0 of that business went through prime brokerage infrastructure. They redid the report in 2019, and the BIS showed that the market grew to 6.6 trillion, with 1.5 trillion a day going through that prime brokerage infrastructure. So 25 years, multiple iterations on the infrastructure side, foreign exchange properly found its scale. Prior to that, there really was no industrial scale in foreign exchange. There was a few bespoke deals. There was no broad usage. Just some of the mega names had access, like a Soros, a Tudor, a More Capital, and a Tiger of the world, as there really wasn't any convenient way to access the market. And so a lot of institutional capital sat on the sidelines. I think it's a similar story in crypto. A lot of institutional capital sitting on sidelines, lack of institutional grade infrastructure, not really great convenient ways to access the market. And so I thought it was a good analogy that as you lay down infrastructure, prime brokerage being just one piece of that, markets can find their true scale.
He's staring the camera down and asking, where's the capital gonna come from? Who's crazy enough to extend third-party credit at global scale? Q, Ripple, Q, Higgins, mic drop. Listen to this very carefully and we're gonna connect some dots.
Moving on to solving the liquidity problem, I'm super keen to hear this panel and what solutions are there. In my experience, a good way to do this is to allow third-party credit to come in through leverage and intermediaries like you have in the TradFi space. To do that, the scale issues we talked about earlier need to really be addressed. What PB and credit providers cannot do is do that in the absence of true transparency and segregation options. Absent putting those things in place, unfortunately, I think there'll be little capital that can enter the market. And so this begs the question for that panel of where is this capital coming from? Who are these credit providers? And is this an area where we'll see innovation and evolution of new solutions? Now, I know at Hidden Road, we certainly believe credit is ripe for disruption and innovation. Most people think about the banks, but the banks have a number of hurdles for touching crypto, as it's currently 100% RWA haircut or risk-weighted asset haircut under Basel III. And so that crushes any economic incentive for the banks to come in and provide credit.
So February 2025, they're talking about demand and supply. And then April 8th, 2025, you have Ripple coming out and buying Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. Remember, that is the biggest transaction in crypto history. This wasn't a coincidence. That was a pre-planned carpet bombing of liquidity that we are going to see flood into this ecosystem. And banks are going to be utilizing XRP 100%. They're going to be buying it. It even says it right here under Ripple's press release. We'll get to that in a moment. And don't forget, the BIS even told you guys this, okay, that FX is going to be a problem, but they do have a solution. The trust bridge and money flows. Listen here very carefully. When I say currency C is going to be XRP. And in terms of extensions and further considerations, this is important stuff. Everything is being documented. However, another model is for the marketplaces to gravitate towards trading fewer currency pairs. For instance, a third currency, C currency, could become a vehicle currency on the marketplace. In this case, person I, myself, would trade a currency. I would take my USD currency and then swap it for the C currency, which is going to be XRP, through one market maker, which would then turn to another market maker to trade my C currency, which is XRP, so it's not mine, it's A currency is mine, C currency is going to be XRP, and then B currency is going to be my off-ramp, is going to be, let's say, the yen, right? So I would trade my A currency, USD, for a C currency, which is called XRP in our case study. And then the off-ramp, the C currency, will be converted into the B currency, which is going to be the yen. The additional step would occur on the marketplace and could reduce overall costs by trading more liquid currency pairs, okay? And this video, if you're not mind blown yet, is only going to get even more insane. Because remember, Ripple's line of credit announcement back on October 8th, 2020, Most people skimmed the headline and went back to TikTok, right? That's usually how it is. But the fine print was the tell. I'm going to read it very quickly here. First, this is not the mic drop. Ripple's line of credit solves this problem for our customers by providing upfront access to capital for every market through one simple credit arrangement, simplifying access to financial solutions that accelerate business performance and scale. This is back from 2020, so things may have changed internally in terms of how they're going to proceed with the line of credit. Different sort of financial products can be and could have been being designed right now. There's a lot that we don't know yet. There's a lot. I'm telling you that because I've worked in the bank for 10 years, and we know news way before retail gets to know. I know that for a fact. And 2025, if you have been following me since 2020, it's ladies and gentlemen, I mean, there's really nothing to say. We've been on the money for every single thing. And anybody that leaves negative comments, they're just morons. I don't even know why I address haters anymore, but it's just so annoying that people can't understand this and they actually leave a comment that, whoever leaves a negative comment, I always say this, they're truly dumb. Like this is so much valuable information that only a few really, really understand, right? But take a look at this right here. Line of credit is only for use by eligible institutional RippleNet customers and not by consumers, retail customers, or the general public. Availability varies by jurisdiction and is subject to change. The line of credit is treated as a form of payment to finance a purchase of XRP and is not a lease or a loan of XRP for tax purposes. That is insane. That is insane. So what they're going to be doing, okay, pretty much Ripple extends their USD credit and then institutions draws, and then Ripple sells them a fresh batch of XRP. And imagine doing this at scale now. Institutions use XRP then to do their cross-border payments, settles, and they repay Ripple later. So that is why liquidity still on just one avenue from one perspective has to be deep. So that means that institutions buy XRP even if they only warehouse it for minutes. But imagine this on a mega scale, right? Utility demand goes vertical. You have circulating supply tightens. And I mean, you know what's going to happen to the price, right?
There is, relatively speaking, leaving forks aside, there's relatively speaking fixed supply, and you have increasing demand. And when endowments and institutions, Joey and I sat in a meeting not that long ago with, some of the largest institutional money in the world trying to get smart about crypto. They owned zero on that day. I don't know if they do today. But as they enter the market, you have fixed supply, increasing demand. You don't have to go to MIT to know what's going to happen.
Why is this evolutionary and revolutionary? It's very, very important for you guys to understand this part, right? I mean, even Higgins said it himself.
An evolution of new solutions.
Evolutionary because prime brokers have always extended credit, but never at internet speed across fiat. This is going to be the first time. You have FX, treasuries, and digital assets all in one line item. Revolutionary because Ripple just stapled a fully regulated digital asset balance sheet. Think about that, $3 trillion annually, to back of that credit cannon. No pre-funding, no stranded capital. My goodness. And it's funny because Higgins asked, where's the capital going to come from? And you got Brock Garlinghouse kicking the door off the hinges and screaming, right here, pal. Right here. If you're still debating whether XRP can move big money, or if you're debating if XRP is the right choice and why hasn't the value of XRP gone up, the value of XRP hasn't gone up because there's a bigger plan behind it. This is a collaborative effort on a nationwide, worldwide stage where it needs to be done right the first go around. A lot of people don't see it, but they will only understand it when the value of XRP spikes.
They told us dream small, but we had the stars in mind. While they chased hype, we studied time. In the noise we found the signal. Brad knew just what to do. through the trials, through the pain. Salute, salute to the calm, to the wise. Salute, 100 in our eyes. Bitcoin maxis yell on stage, stuck in loops they call belief, while XRPL just clears the way. No delay, no grief. They hoard coins like dusty gold, but we got utility in every fold. The future ain't loud, it's steady breathing. Real ones know what's worth believing. It ain't hype, it's code and soul. We salute the ones who see the whole. Salute to the builders, to the flow. Salute, salute where the real ones choose to go. Salute, salute to the heart, to the plan. Salute, XRP will lead the land. Value don't lie, and truth don't shake. Let the whole world break, we remake. Strategic reserve, written in stars. XRP gonna take us far. So here's to the signal, clear and bright. To the dreamers who held on tight. No matter the storm, no matter the fight. Salute, we rise with the light.
We started building RippleNet with the thesis that crypto liquidity would eventually be able to support robust global payments, large payments. RippleNet was designed so that customers seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip the switch to ODL once the market was mature enough. And this is exactly what's happening. Flip the switch. I think what we're building has, it's solving a real problem. And I think all of the tokens, my advice to anybody would be, understand the utility. If there's real utility and there's real value being delivered to a real customer, there will be value in the token.